Sunday on KUAW. My brother with another mother, Darwin Penny, Coach 24, is not here again. He is still working his heart out. I mean, he's had a rough road. I wouldn't say a rough month, but he has worked a lot this month. He was in town for a little bit, for a second. He went to go see his mom, and now he is in Memphis for 3 games this weekend, and then he's going to Nashville on Friday, and then he is going to Indianapolis on Monday and Omaha the following Friday. So he will not be here again, but man, I'm telling you what, he's rocking it, and he is helping the Royals keep us in, or at least keeping the city excited about the playoff hunt. And behind the scenes running the show, DJ Scatter, Mr. George Walker. How are you doing this evening, Mr. Walker?
Well, I'm doing just fine and glad to be here with you.
All right, that's awesome. And I have a guest tonight, Shane Allen, who has been employed by the Major League Baseball.
Yep.
You actually played,
minor league.
Played professional baseball.
Right.
And he has a charity that he is working on, and we're going to talk about that in the second part of our show. We met bowling. Actually, my daughter introduced us, and so he needed lessons from a left-handed professional.
I'm still looking.
And he's still looking for that professional left-hander. So, but I tried my best. But anyway, he's on the show. Shane, how are you doing this
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be here. I love stuff like this. I love doing stuff like this, and it's just always going to have a great time. It's going to be a great hour.
That will be. It will be an awesome hour. And so we're talking about the Olympics. We were just going over stuff before the show, and I'm telling you what, the USA usually is always in the top of the Olympics, but a lot of times, especially the past few Olympics, they've really struggled. And I know that I don't count 2020 because it had the COVID. You had it changed from 2020 to 2021. But this is the very first year in a long time of the Olympics that the USA has really performed well.
Yeah, they have all around. I mean, gymnastics is coming back. I think it's been 20 years since the team USA has won a gold in the men's gymnastics or something like that.
It was 2008.
Right, something like that. It's been a while.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. So our men's gymnastics come along. Of course, track and field will always dominate year after year. So.
Absolutely. But those were great events. The 100-yard dash.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the closest they said since Moscow in 1980. And if you realize that in 1980, the U.S. didn't perform there because obviously they had they were striking, and then obviously in 1984 the Soviets struck and didn't perform. But Noah Lyles was going to become the first American since I was a teenager to win 100 and 200 yards.
Right.
Now, here was the thing. Noah won arguably in the closest 100 race. I was at Price Chopper, and I was watching it. I was not going to watch. I wasn't going to go home and watch the replays or anything else. I was watching it there. And, oh, my gosh, Noah Lyles had a horrible start, and he has been labeled as a horrible starter. He has admitted that. And I was looking like, I was watching him, and I was like, okay, he's not going to get it. So I was watching the
guy in the yellow, the Jamaican, yep,
and the other American. They looked like they were going to go 1 and 2, and all of a sudden now the blue. I saw Lyles, but I still thought the Filipino had won, and that the American had got edged out. Well, then they said they did X-ray replay, because that's what it looks like. You took an X-ray of it and saw that Lyles ended up winning. I was like, oh, my God, that was so close. Also, this is the first time in history that all 8 runners ran under 10 seconds.
Right.
So
I think they said something like the last Olympics to get on the podium. Like it was insane. Like all the people, seventh place would have been on the podium in the last Olympics.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it was amazing, but it was awesome. But it got the fans to watch. So then you're talking, okay, Lyles is going to rock the 200 because 200 is his forte.
Yep.
That is his race. You know, just like Patrick Mahomes throwing touchdowns and winning Super Bowls. Lyles was dominating in the 200s, and he was expected to win. 2 days ago, he catches COVID.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. And you did not know that until afterwards. Now, everybody knew. Most everybody knew. I did not know because I didn't keep up with it, but I did not know he had asthma. So he has asthma, but he still rocks it. And he was still expecting to win, but he has COVID. Oh, my gosh. It's just like one thing after another, and yet he still took third place.
I've had COVID, and I can tell you right now, there's no way I could run anywhere. I mean, it's hard for me to run to the refrigerator, try to grab anything, let alone try to run a race in the
Right.
Olympics and win. I mean, that's just remarkable.
Right, absolutely. So Benarik, the other American, he took second place behind the guy from Africa, and I don't know.
I can't think of his
It
name.
starts with a B. It's B-A-W.
Yeah.
That's all I know. His name is Tobago, and he won it. So congratulations to him. But we had two U.S. gold or medals, a silver and a bronze, but oh my God, he looked horrible afterwards, just by the fact that he was drained. And so, but it was just incredibly awesome, and I've really enjoyed paying attention to these Olympics.
Did you actually watch the 200?
Yes,
You did?
I did.
Did he do his pre-routine jumping and yelling?
He did all
I was
the-
surprised because if he has COVID, man, you think
Right,
I'd take it out of him.
right. Well, but he was still going to do that because nobody knew that except for probably his mom and
Right.
and the trainer. Nobody knew that because even the announcers were talking about it. Mike Forio from NBC. You know, he didn't know, so they were all of a sudden they were all reporting it. You know, as like. He had COVID. He had COVID 2 days ago. He did an interview with them. But I wonder if he didn't do all those, all of his post or pre
Everything.
actions and all that, if that would have made a difference. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, being in sports and being around sports my entire life, you have rituals you're going to do.
Right.
If you don't do them, it's in your head. I promise you, if he didn't do those rituals because he was tired or whatever, it would have had an effect on his race. That's his personality. That's what he had to do, and that's what he does to win races. So he had to do that, COVID or not.
Yep. And I totally agree with you. So anyway, great job, Lyles. And then yesterday, I believe it was it yesterday or was it Tuesday? A guy from Raytown South High School. Now, the thing of it is on the telepomp, they say it's Kansas City. But we're saying that he was from Raytown. He went to Raytown South High School. Quentin Hall wins the 400-yard dash. And I call it a dash because now, as fast as they run it, it takes him less time to do that than for you to run to the refrigerator
Right.
and grab a beer. So, but when they went around the turn, he was in fourth place, and he was a distant fourth place. He wasn't even close. And all of a sudden, it just looked like everybody else in front of him was just running, standing still, and he just blew past them. Mm-hmm. I just love, and that's the great thing about it. You can watch a football game, you can watch a basketball game, NBA, NFL, you can watch a Major League Baseball game, and they kind of just go through the motions because the fact that they have a lot of games. Well, this is the Olympics. This is, to me, the bigger dog than the NFL, than the Major League Baseball, than the NBA. So they put everything on the line. I mean, there was a
You only do it every 4 years, and some people only get one shot at it.
Right.
I mean, gymnastics, your prime is, 14, 16. Simone Biles is something
She's
different.
a beast.
We know that. But for the most part, you get one shot.
Right.
And that's it. So they are putting everything on the line. They have to. I mean, this is what they train for their entire lives for one event. It's insane.
Yep.
Absolutely insane.
And it is, and you see that, and that's what makes it so it's so awesome to watch that, because you see them, you know that they're not going to give up even after a guy falls down and he's nowhere near, he's not going to win a medal, he's not even going to be in the top 5, top 10, but they still get up limping. Remember when his dad came and pulled, carried or helped him? This was like 30 years ago. I think it was like 92, and the son tore his hamstring, and he was crying, and his dad got on the track. I'm telling you,
it's the same thing with Carrie Schruck.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
she hurt her ankle or something like that, and she kept going, and won the gold. So I mean, you have to keep going.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes with an injury, it doesn't matter. You just
exactly, because as you said, they don't get, a lot of them don't get another chance. I mean, Usain Bolt did it 3 times.
Right.
And he is the only person that has won the 100 and 200 multiple times. I mean, going all the way back to Jesse Owens and back to 1900, there's only been a person that did it only once outside of him. So, I mean, he's just completely a different person. But still, the fact you get that one shot, and he had a shot in the last 40 years to do it, and he did not, but he still did it awesome. And so now Quentin Hall, the Raytown South product, he is now a gold medalist, and that is just awesome, because you got people that are here that talk about it. The news talks about it, I mean, outside the United States, we get, the people outside the United States. We were talking about the Philippine guy that won the gold in the floor exercise. United States, we're not giving them the key to the city and everything else, but all those guys or females, when they win, they get the house, they get everything. They treat them like gods, and so Quentin Hall is a god right now in the city of Raytown, in Kansas City, and even in Missouri. And maybe mention a little bit about Kansas. So.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just really awesome, and I just totally. It was a great race, and I totally love that. And then you've got the USA basketball team. You got the men's team. They're playing Serbia, and so you're expecting them to just come in and win. Well, going into the third quarter, during the game, they were down as much as 17. Beginning of the fourth quarter, they were down 13 points. And I was watching that, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I wanted to change it. It was kind of like a Royals game when they're down 5-0. I was like, no, I don't want to watch this. But I stayed with it and everything, and then they finally – the key of it was they finally started playing defense, because Joko was running Ranshot, and then what was it, Boga Davison, and he was hitting them from outside.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference, too, between the Olympics also and, like, the NBA.
Right.
In the NBA, there's not a lot of defense until maybe the fourth quarter. The Olympics is defense. You have to play defense 100%.
Right.
Totally different ball game. And I think maybe they kind of figured that out maybe a little bit later on in that game. And they probably figured it out for the rest of the tournament. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steph Curry, this was his show. He had 36 points. He had, I believe, 8 3-pointers, which is the most of anybody in this tournament. I don't know if it's an Olympic record or not, but he had at least 8 3-pointers, and he just rocked it. And then Durant was making key shots at the end, and Holiday finally put the pressure on. I want to say his name, Bo Davison, something like that.
Yeah.
And shut him down at the end. So, but even then, Serbia had a shot, but you know the U.S. is in the finals. They are playing France, so they're going to have to really step their game up for France because this is going to be a home game for them.
Yeah.
So.
And honestly, France is doing well. It's their home court in all the events, and they've won more medals. I think last week they did the whole other Olympics, so they're doing very, very well.
Right, and I believe they are third. I think it's
Right.
the U.S.
Yep.
first and China second,
Yep.
and then France third.
Yep.
So yeah, so it and this is what like I said, this is what makes it awesome.
Right.
So.
So speaking of one more thing on the Olympics, I don't know if you got anything else, but what did you hear about the 2022 figure skating team winning the gold on a technicality because of drugs, because of steroid usage over Russia?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but see, I've heard so many of those, China and Russia and all that.
It took them finally 2 years to award the gold. They got it, I think, yesterday or the day before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and what about that pole vaulter?
Oh, we don't even want to go there.
Yeah, you got to talk about that.
All I know is, sometimes your equipment can get in the way.
And what we're talking about is equipment on your body, not the
Right.
equipment that he was using. And so I guess he was pole vaulting and he was completely over. And then somehow a little hook came and pulled the bar right off.
Right.
And then he didn't make it. So I'm just telling you. So let me ask you this. In the Olympics so far, who do you think? I know there's a lot in a lot of events, gymnastics, track and field, polo, whatever. Who do you think was the top athlete for just for the U.S.?
Simone Biles.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt in my mind. The swimmer, what's her name?
Kadecki.
Oh, she's phenomenal too. Then you still can't count out the guy we just mentioned for the sprinter. I mean,
Lyles.
Those are the top three by
Right.
far. But if you watch these other events too, there's other events that are less. The badminton people. Oh my gosh, have you lost your mind?
Right.
The way they played badminton. I was watching the ping pong thing tonight. It's like,
Oh,
those guys are insane, like
right.
really insane. So,
Exactly.
Scotty Scheffler. I mean,
Yep.
of course, did well.
So let me ask you this: if you were in his shoes, and I'm just saying that you, as the golfer, would it be more satisfying to win a major tournament or the gold medal?
You only get one. We already talked about it. You only get one shot at the Olympics.
Right.
The gold medal, I think, meant more to him than wearing that green jacket he won a few weeks ago.
Absolutely.
So, yep,
So,
absolutely.
and then you had Cole Hawker, who not only won the gold medal in the 1500, and he wasn't even expected to win. He got the Olympic he got the world record.
Right.
Yes. Oh no. Yeah. So, and he beat the world champion Josh Kerr from Great Britain. So, I mean, and then you got Gabby Thomas. She won the 200.
Mm-hmm.
You had Tina Davis winning the long jump. Her husband was there watching him, and I didn't realize that they jumped about 18 times, 20 times.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I thought you just did it you had a couple of rounds, you did a couple, and then if you chance, you did it.
Mm-hmm.
She did it like 8 times.
The thing about, I think, with the Olympics, it's the same thing in professional sports. You think of baseball or football. These guys are putting up remarkable times. Cole put up a remarkable time to win the gold, but you have to understand, again, only getting one shot at it, you're going to give a little bit more. It's kind of like the any given Sunday thing. Anybody
Right.
can win. It's the Olympics. Everybody's going all out. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. The difference between Major League Baseball and minor league baseball is Major League Baseball players can do it more consistently. That's
Right.
the only difference. I mean, they can still hit the 450 home runs, 450-foot home run. They can still make diving stops. It's just Major League players are going to do it more often. So, talk about Cole winning that. That's just what happens. Any given Sunday, anybody can win during the Olympics.
Absolutely. So, I will have the gold medal or the medals because usually they give us what the count is after the end of the day, because what is it? It's about 8 hours ahead of us.
I think it stops. I know it stops. It goes off the air because I've been watching it a lot lately at night. I think it goes off the air at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. So I don't know where that
Right.
would put it exactly.
Right,
So,
but they do a lot of
yeah. Yeah.
telecast.
I think it is
and
about 8 hours. That makes
re-recordings
sense.
and
About
stuff
8
like
hours
that.
would be.
So
yeah.
when he was talking with Quentin Hall, it was dark, and he said that the tower,
Yeah.
the Eiffel Tower, I guess lights up every hour on the hour
Okay.
or something like
Yeah,
that. So
okay.
that was really cool. So, but anyway, the men's basketball, they will play France, and I believe it's in 2 days, Saturday. So
Speaking of men's basketball, I know there's something else that came out, if we got time for it, is what do you think about professionals playing in the Olympics? What's your thoughts about that?
well, at the time, I enjoyed watching the amateurs play, but then what happened, especially in '88, was that the other countries had players that were playing professional, and we still had college players. So saying that, you have the NBA, you have the United States, and all of them are professionals. You're not going to have a college player playing because obviously they're not going to be good enough
Right.
at all to play. But then you had Jokic for Serbia. You've got France. You've got a couple of those players. I would love to see it go back to college, but it will never happen because
You
then
can't get all the
got-
countries on board.
Right, because the other countries, they don't have those players that good. And you've got players there that are coming here to the United States to go to college
Yeah.
and then playing in the NBA.
The reason why I asked that is I saw something on Facebook or on TikTok or something about a boxer from another country who was a professional boxer, and he has dominated this amateur guy.
Right.
So what if the United States would put professional boxing in their Olympics? Because we're not doing it.
Right. Well, we haven't been doing it for years.
Right.
To be perfectly honest, I think the last time we were totally dominated was 1976 with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. So do we go back to that then?
No, because if you do, then the new people, so like us,
It's a domination.
older, we enjoy watching that. But for the new generation, that would be boring to them, and it would unattract them.
It's the
to
same thing as a
watching it.
Friday night fight, basically.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's kind of like baseball now. You had where, a pitcher could walk around the mound, do his little routine, and could pitch the ball. Now you can't do that because you got a pitch clock, because you want these younger people, the younger generation, to sit and be able to enjoy it, because most of the time anyway, they're on their phones doing whatever. So they got to do something that's going to capture their moment at that moment instead of waiting for like 3 hours
Right.
for something to happen. So that's the only thing. So see, I would love to have a person that's 20 years old answer that question, but we're older. Obviously, I'm approaching generational age. Don't laugh over there, Mr. Walker. I'm listening to you. So, but saying that, I'm still a great sports fan. I still love it. I still enjoy doing that. But at the same time, you like to stay old school, but you got to move with the times.
I don't like change. I just don't.
I
It's
know.
just the way I am, and I wish the rules would stay the same forever. This whole thing with the kickoff, I don't even want to talk about that. 'Cause
Oh
it's
my
just-
gosh.
it's so frustrating. But I just
Right.
don't like. I don't know why we're doing it. I just don't.
I don't either. And maybe that this will be so bad that they'll take it away.
I think it's going to be an embarrassment.
Well, that first preseason game, I don't think they even had a kickoff, because every
Right.
time they called a penalty for offsides or legal
Yeah.
procedure or something like that. And, you're used to seeing the players like back here running, and now they're like right here. And
Yeah.
I totally don't get it.
And I understand where the NFL's coming from a little bit, how they're trying to not get the players injured and stuff like that. But you know what? Let's go back to the Lawrence Taylor days and back in the days where they wore shoulder pads.
Right.
And the helmets are state of the art now. So it's just like, what are you doing? We're not hitting everybody. I would hate to be a defender because you can't hit anybody. You basically got to grab them by the waist. You can't even grab them by the waist and pull them down because of the knee injury rule now. Because it's literally insane. So I don't know where the NFL is going. They're not making it boring yet, but I think it's getting there. I just do.
Well, here's the problem. You have offensive linemen that are trying to get speed so they can block the rushing ends and everything, and they're wearing shoulder pads that are made for a 11-year-old kid.
Yep.
And I go back on ESPN or NFL Network, and I see those older games, and they had big pads, but they could still run. Maybe they don't run a 4.21 like Worthy or whatever, but they could still run. They could still hit. I love the hitting part. Now you do that, and you get called for a penalty, and I remember playing sandlot football, and obviously we didn't play with pads, but still, if I made a catch and somebody drilled me, I congratulated them. I didn't get mad. I didn't throw a fit. I didn't want to fight them. I was like, man, that was a great hit, because I would have loved to have done it right back at them.
But here's the thing. Speaking generational, then, are we different breed back? Because I'm 54. I don't know how old you are. I'm 54.
I'm 58.
Contact sports was life. I mean, I love the wrestle. I love to hit somebody. I love being hit. It's just Tim Taylor,
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, is it a different generation now?
It is. It's total different generation. They don't. I could yell at you on the football field, hey, your mother wears army boots or something like that, and you may get mad at me a little bit, but it's more of a gamesmanship.
Right.
You do it now, and and the person almost starts crying and needs counseling, and you go, what? What did I do?
You're a bully.
Exactly. And I get, and believe me, I understand the bullying part, but if this guy is bullying me, I know he's bullying me. And today, you can get online and through social media, you can hide and then bully somebody. That's wrong.
Right.
I don't agree with that. But the bullying part with us, yeah, it may not be right, but it was okay. But it helped us become a man.
Just on the last couple holes that we did golf the other day,
Right.
somebody made a comment about you showing up for golf. Now, that's not as extreme as what we're talking about, but
Right.
it's the same concept. It's a friendly,
Right.
for us, it was a friendly type of thing, but we were still kind of poking fun at you a little bit.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
and that was okay, because as we were having fun, we were still competitive.
Right.
We still wanted to win. And I didn't play very well. So Willie, yeah, even my own teammate was razzing me.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So by the way, if he starts playing bad, we call him Sally.
You call Willie Sally?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. So we'll
But
start
see,
calling
back in the day, you used to be a Sally if you didn't play well.
Right.
You're a Sally. If you did
Exactly.
that now, you'd be
Well,
penalized.
If I was putting for a par or whatever, and I didn't get there, you would say, well, next time you need to bring your husband.
Yeah.
This generation today, you don't know
Yeah.
which is a husband or a wife or
Yep.
whatever.
Can you imagine? I remember on our baseball team, we had this catcher, big boy, and he couldn't run. He would hit the ball. We'd be like, unleash the plow, unleash the plow. If you did that nowadays, oh my goodness.
Oh, my God,
The parents would have a fit.
Right, and you would pat the guy on his back
Yeah.
and say, "Oh, it's okay," and the person who said it would have been virtually exiled out
Yeah,
of there.
he'd have been expelled.
Exactly.
Or, taken out of it.
And that is what is so bad about the generational. And yes, we are older, but we enjoyed how that was. And sometimes you have to revert back.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there used to be bell-bottom jeans in the 70s, 60s and 70s. Hey, they came back.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you got to do that with life too. And so with that, we are at halftime on any given Sunday on KUAW. Shane Allen is my guest, and we are rocking it, totally enjoying ourselves. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Royals, and then we're going to talk about your charity. So we're going to go there. And with that, you are listening to KUAW. right, we're back with Any Given Sunday on KUAW. George Walker running the show. Coach 24 Darwin Penny is out on his scouting job, and I am Brian Kress, the Awesome Boys. I'm here with Shane Allen, and we are here tonight because, unfortunately, and I didn't realize this until we started golfing and you told me, Shane has ALS.
I do.
And so tell us a little bit about this. Now, I'm going to try to say this word. I've been practicing it.
Okay.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis.
Correct.
Did I say that right?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, ALS is to make it in simpler terms, is a brain and muscular disease, disorder, whatever you want to call it. I hate to call it a disease, but it is a disease. So basically, your brain just stops communicating with the rest of your muscles in your body. A lot of long-time effects are speech, motory skills such as walking and stuff. Lungs, I'm having big lung issues right now. That's a big issue with it, right? So my lungs are probably the worst of the worst. And so when we golf and I get heavy-handed sometimes, I even warned you the last time we were golfing. I said, hey, just so you know, if I quit around the 14, 15 hole, there's a reason. I'm tired. I get wore out. We played more of a scramble, so I didn't hit as many balls, so I was able to finish that. So.
Absolutely. And you did finish, but we did a scramble, so you wasn't hitting every single ball, which was perfectly fine. But to tell people out here who go, oh, I'm tired, I want to do this. This guy in the heat, it was one of the hotter days of the summer, and this guy played 18 holes. This guy was a beast.
Well, I appreciate it, but not all days are like that.
Right.
I prep a little bit for it. I take a little bit rest the day before. Like I said, I know we're golfing tomorrow since it's a little bit cooler. But anyway, I take a little bit more precautions. I don't want to say I double up on the medications, but I take a little bit more vitamins. I stay hydrated. I do my inhalers maybe a little bit more the day before and the morning of, and kind of prep for it. I have to. Otherwise, I will not make it through the day.
Now, do you do any special exercises?
So I am doing, in the mornings, 4 days a week, I do PT at the university, and that seems to be helping more and more.
University?
Kansas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, University of Kansas. I live in the plaza, so it's not easy to go there. And so I started that like 3 weeks ago, and it kind of hindered a lot of things I was doing with some other jobs I have and stuff like that. But the PT seems to be helping because I'm moving. Because I'll be honest with you, Brian, there are times when it's hard for me to get out of bed. You look at my hands now, I don't know where to put it, but like
I actually saw them sometimes when you were putting.
Yeah, my hands cramp up a lot, and just to wake up in the morning, I literally have to take my hands. I'm trying to put it on the camera. Take my hands. I have to pull sometimes my fingers apart. They crack, and it's my hands. I noticed first physically was my hands, and then I had to get bigger golf clubs, thicker shafts on my golf clubs so I can grip them more. But as we go through this process, and I say this all the time. I got misdiagnosed with a couple things before, and they throw medications at you and say, oh, you have this, you have that.
Right.
And, until you actually pass away, they have a good idea, but until they actually, you pass away and they do, they take a biopsy of your brain, they really don't know.
Right.
And so they throw medications at you, some that work and some that don't. I'm on a series of medications that work for a while. We got to switch it up to something else because something else is happening. And so I've been on an experimental drug called Revelin since September 26, 2022. It doesn't cure ALS, but it actually slows down the process of the neurons and the synapses between the cells from breaking down.
Okay, so I am ignorant with this because I don't know much about it.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask silly questions. So with that medication, how much does it slow the process?
Well, ALS is a 3 to 5 year condition. I've had it for almost 3 years now, and I seem to be doing well. There's some people that are on that medication that don't do as well. There's people that have not been on the medication that's gone 11 years and had ALS. So it makes you wonder, did they really have ALS? Was it something else? But but you just really never know. It's person to person. I'm in touch with a lot of people who have ALS. There's people that I've been in contact with for a couple years now that are doing a lot worse than me and are on the same medication. So I think it just has to do with your genetics, your body. I really don't know. I can't tell you what it has to do with. It's one of those things where it could affect you very quickly, or it could take a long time. So fortunately for me, it seems to be slowing down, and we're not doing as well as I was 6 months ago, but we're still here.
Right. Well, I mean, you're still able to go out and go golfing.
Right.
But you said that you can't bowl anymore.
Right.
So tell us the difference between golfing and bowling.
Well, the difference between golfing and bowling is I can swing a golf club because it only weighs X amount of pounds. Bowling is a 15-pound ball. You're on one leg. My sense of balance just isn't there anymore. It's funny. I got contacted to bowl in a league in the fall, and I was like, I just can't do this. Like, I want to do it. I bowled an event for the radio stations, the St. Jude event, and I actually bowled over 200.
There you go.
And it's just like I hadn't bowled in probably a year and a half. But I can still bowl. It's just I don't know how much fun it would be because my balance is off. I'd be afraid of hurting myself more than anything,
Right.
just to be honest with you. I fall as it is. I'm having a lot of falls now because my brain just hasn't caught up with my feet sometimes, and so I'll literally just be walking normal and just fall. It's comical, but it's not because I'm starting to laugh about it because I'm getting used to it. But when it starts to be down a flight of steps, it gets pretty serious. So.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So how do people react to you when they don't know what you have and then you're falling down and stuff like that?
So I didn't tell people for about a year or so because I just didn't want anybody to know. I wanted to figure it out, and I'm getting emotional about it. I literally just waited, and finally I came clean on Facebook and to everybody. A lot of close friends knew, my power attorney knew, and stuff like that, because I was starting to have, this is before I was on certain medications, I was starting to have symptoms. I was shaking a lot. I mean, you can see me shake, and I was just having issues with my hands and all kinds of stuff, and my speech was slurred at times. There are still times, and I know when it's happening, because I'll stop myself before I say something, where I'm thinking something, but that's not what comes out. And I know exactly, and that's just me of learning how to handle it with my ALS.
Gotcha. So you worked for Major League Baseball.
I did.
Did you have to quit Major League Baseball because of that, or was that a totally different
No,
scenario?
my position with Major League Baseball got eliminated in 2021 during COVID. I'm not saying I was ever a great player or anything like that, but Major League Baseball had around 70 positions where they were like, here, attaboy, here's a position for you because you're done in baseball. Mine was player community relations. My job was to make sure players were signing autographs, doing the community services and stuff like that. And so I traveled all around the country having a great time. But when COVID hit, they realized my position was just one of them they just didn't need. And there was a lot of people that don't work for baseball because of that.
Gotcha. So did before we went golfing, did you know Willie Aikens?
No, never met him.
So even though you did work for Major League Baseball, you still don't know all the players. Now, obviously, you probably knew George Brett.
Yep.
You knew Salvador Perez.
Yep.
They were the key names, and
Right.
they're the front show.
Well,
Where
Willie's
Willie Aikens
yeah.
was kind of front page, but
Yeah.
he was actually more second and third.
Yeah, no, I like Willie Aikens. I think he's the only guy in World Series history that had 2 home runs in 2 different games in the World Series. So, I mean, that's a big stat to have. And, things happen. And,
Absolutely.
So,
Oh, and he's a phenomenal.
great guy. I really enjoyed golf with him.
I truly am blessed to call him a friend,
Yeah.
and we always have a good time. We try to golf every week. I'm getting ready to go bowling on Tuesday, so that's going to stop. We're going to have to switch it to another because he does golf. Well, he's golfing right now. He has his league, so hopefully I'll find out how well he did, or if he will even tell me.
Yeah.
He usually waits until Tuesday. So
And I got to tell you something. When you get players like Willie Aikens, and I've hung out with some other players too. I've hung out with Ed Hearn, who won a series with the Mets,
Right.
and him and I are actually pretty good friends. And he's got some medical issues too, so we kind of go back and forth about who's got the worst of the worst, and he does right now. And then I've hung out with Greg Pryor for a while, and then Jim Eisenreich from the Royals, and some other players. My cousin played Major League Baseball. Mike Henry for the Royals, the Mariners, and the Pittsburgh Pirates for a while. So I've been around baseball and those type of people my entire life. I mean, I told you this with Willie, back in '86 with my cousin played there. I spent the whole summer down here in Kansas City. I'm from Iowa. My dad let me spend the whole summer down here. And I can tell you so many stories with Willie Wilson and his girlfriend, or, Frank White. And I don't know if you want to hear all those stories, but
Right.
there's some stories that are just amazing that they'd be banned from baseball if it happened today.
Right, absolutely. Well, a lot of things happen that happened in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that wouldn't be allowed today.
Right.
But to me, that's what makes it fun because you enjoyed that. Now, saying that, you've met a lot of players who would, and you're probably not in awe. So, like, okay, I met George Brett. Okay, I met Salvador Perez. Who were some players that you met that you were like, oh my gosh, it's Brian? I'm using me for example. Oh my God, that's Brian Krebs.
When I was bowling, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Brian. Anyway, but I think Mike Trout was a pretty good name. I did a 3-day stand when I was in Oakland, San Francisco, then flew down to Anaheim, and I was walking after the game, and I was just like, wow, that's Mike Trout. Like, I mean, we were walking down the same tunnels, and he slowed down, and I was walking next to him. I said, hey, Mike, how you doing? And everybody knows who I am because when I walk in the room, they run. And so I was like, man, I hate to do this, man, but can I get an autograph? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, well, I have my own locker there, too. At every stadium, we have our own section of not their locker rooms, but it's another room.
Now, did you have it in every stadium or just that one?
It's the MLB personnel rooms is what it's not really a locker room.
Oh,
but,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But he says, you know what? I'll leave you a picture and leave it in your. I said, cool, and he did. So I mean, I can tell you right now, I probably could have got more autographs and pictures with people than I do. But there's a professionalism you have to do. It's just like if you're a sports reporter and you're on the field, you can't just be asking for autographs and stuff like that. I wanted to lots of times, but Mike Trout was a big name. I really did like Mike Trout a lot. So.
Awesome. So did you meet any of the older players, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, players like them?
Maybe not that old. I met those guys when I was young, but I always would go to the All-Star games. And the All-Star games, and whether it be San Diego or Cincinnati or Miami or something like that, they get the old-timers or the Hall of Famers from those teams to do what's called Fan Fest, and they sign autographs to do community service. But I was in San Diego in 2016, I believe, and for the All-Star game, and I was a big Steve Garvey fan. If you Google my Facebook and look up Steve Garvey, there's a lot there because I met him and we were talking. And of course, it's because I worked in baseball and go behind the scenes and talk to him. He says, you know what? Tomorrow there's a celebrity game that's not really that famous, but there's going to be a lot of people. Why don't you come and join me? I was literally on the field with Steve Garvey and Goldberg and Vince Coleman and all these players at San Diego State University. There's like 100 people there.
Oh my God!
And it was phenomenal. I was on the field just having a great time. So Steve Garvey would probably be one of the biggest ones that really just got my blood pumping.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Now my favorite ball player was Tony Gwynn.
Okay, yeah.
And now at the 2012 All-Star game, which was here in Kansas City, I went to Royal Stadium hoping to see him because that's my favorite ball player. I mean, just love the guy, everything. And he was at the museum. Now, I happened to look in the newspaper, which is why I read the newspaper, people,
is that
because it gives me more information than trying to find it on the computer and everything else. But anyway.
Well, it's easier. It's not as cluttered.
Right, exactly. And my Grandview education at least gave me the ability to read. But, I thought I could see him at the stadium because my daughter was down there. She was doing working one of the tents in front of the stadium and stuff like that, and I thought I'd get to see him, but I had never been to the museum. The first time I went to the museum was in 2018. So I'm saying this, I blew opportunities with the museum. The museum is a phenomenal place to go.
Talk about the Royals Museum, right, in left field?
No.
What are you talking about?
No, the Negro Leagues.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
No. Well, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
No, the Negro Leagues Baseball
Right.
Museum
Okay.
with Bob Kendrick and Bob.
Memberships are cheap. They're like $20 a year.
Right.
Get a membership. I do. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Right, and Bob Kendrick is the
Phenomenal.
most gracious person.
Yep.
And he is the busiest person. He sees everybody, and even just like you're not in awe with all the people, but Hank Aaron was.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron was his man.
Yeah.
And so he got to hang out with Hank Aaron. I mean, my gosh, if I could have hung out with Tony Gwynn like that same way, I would have been in hog heaven because Jim McMahon was that with football with me. And I got to meet him once, and I actually hyperventilated. I mean, I met Derek Thomas lots of times and stuff like that, but I actually hyperventilated meeting Jim McMahon, But I was a goof then. And I also had hair.
Yeah.
But I missed the opportunity. But saying that, had I been to the museum a lot sooner, I would have known. I could have had that opportunity. So like this past weekend, I announced semi-pro football. Jimmy Ross was here last week. We were talking about the Central Midwest Football League. We had the two teams, Missouri Cyclones from St. Louis, Joplin Crusaders from Joplin. And I was telling them, you need to go there. And if you could see Bob, if Bob happened, get a tour with him. He will give you a tour that is priceless.
And I just want to stress, become a member. Because when you become a member, you get emails on upcoming events of who's going to be there and when. And it's not just little names. It's big names in baseball.
Right.
And it's free. It's basically free events you can go to all the time, but no one knows about it. So become a member.
Well, and I will say this. On the 15th of this month, there is a golf tournament, the Negro League's golf tournament. And a representative for Bob Kendrick was calling Willie the day we were golfing and asking about that. And he's gone from the 14th to the 18th to go meet the new players outside of Jock, who is already in Quad City, I believe.
Right.
So he was bummed. He was actually bummed that he didn't get to meet him.
Wow.
Or he will not be able to get. But they were wanting him to golf, and he couldn't because he had work commitments. But even then, Willie is a story to, if anybody has an opportunity, read his book, see the movie, and I can't think of.
I think it's important to realize if people don't know who Willie Aikens is, please Google him because I think he has a story to tell. He has a great story to tell. He
does,
and it's just like it's all about second chances. And he's made a great and I don't want to tell his personal story, but he's made some great sacrifices over the last few years, with his family and some other issues. But it just goes to show that everybody can change. Period.
Absolutely, and he is down to earth. I mean, I'm not a nobody, but I'm literally a nobody.
Right.
People are not going to walk up and go, "Hey, awesome voice." Oh, wait, they do that.
Right.
So, but they know him, and for him and I to, we met by chance. He was golfing behind us, and then me and my friend Scott, we were talking with him. We started golfing with him, and then we just became friends.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sitting there asking him for autographs and everything else. Now I do my video. I usually do a video of us at least driving one time. I've stopped that a little bit, but I will get back. We will do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But he did autograph Scott Collins' ball when he made the hole-in-one. Well, that's totally different. I mean, how many people get a hole-in-one? I mean, I've shot several 300s. Shooting a hole-in-one to me would match better than my 300s or any of my bowling achievements that I'll ever get. And so he asked him to autograph it. Willie autographed it. Willie is a great person, and he is a great friend.
Yeah. And
I just totally enjoyed it. Now, saying this, you have on September 28th, you have a Kansas City Walk.
Yep. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't really know what to say about it. The Kansas City ALS Association is doing a walk on September 28th. There's a link on my Facebook on how you can get involved. It's Conquering ALS with Baseball Shane. And you can either donate or come hang out and just walk with us and have a great time. I know they're also looking for volunteers at different stations to do some things and stuff like that.
Well, and I definitely want to get involved. And I would love George Walker. Mr. Walker, are you listening to us? I would love to get KUAW involved with this also. If we can somehow we can get involved. I would like to talk with you sometime about maybe even doing a golf tournament. Because I just had my 40-year high school reunion, and a lot of guys were, they've seen me golf. They see the pictures with, because I always take a picture of whoever I'm golfing with, whether it's my best friend or Shane or Willie or whoever, I always take pictures and I post them. And so they were like, "Hey, I would love to golf with you, just to go golfing." And I was like, "This is awesome." So now
things like that are in the mix with things we're doing. A golf tournament, we're going to do some bingo events at some places. We're also going to do a bowling tournament as well. You know, it's just I just decided in the last month to really start ramp up stuff like this,
Right.
while I still can, and just get people involved. And it's not really so much about the money sometimes. And I said this on my Facebook post the other day. It's about the awareness. You know, just
Right.
exactly what it is, and just getting involved. So
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to get involved. I feel that I can connect with people. Somehow we met through, actually it was my daughter
right.
that we did that. You know, I knew somebody who knew Mr. Walker and asked, and because I was doing a show somewhere else, and they said, come talk with Mr. Walker about, you know, doing a show. And how long have we been together? Probably what, 5-6 years now?
Oh, it was before COVID.
Yeah, it was 18, 19.
Yeah, it's been running about 6 years now.
Yeah,
At
so-
least.
So, I mean, you know, the people that you meet, and people go, oh, you know, if you sit at home, sit on your butt, or sit in your bed and just watch TV, you cannot meet phenomenal people. And the only way you can do that is you get off your duff, get out, and help somebody. Don't do it for yourself. I'm not, you know, I love doing this show, but if I can get people to connect and everything else, then to me,
And you bring up a good point too. With me personally, with having my ALS, there's times when I don't want to leave the house.
Right.
There's 2 weeks. I mean, I have food, and I got people that come over and help check in on me and stuff like that, make sure I'm still around. But since I've been doing PT and I've been kind of getting out of the house, and it's my mind's gotten more awoke, or whatever you want to call it. And so now I'm more interested in doing some things and just getting involved, because I'll be honest with you, I do have also depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. So I suffer through all that. At the same time, with the physical conditions, I can go downhill very fast. And so I have to be around positive people. I have to get out of the house. It's simple things. I see a therapist. It's simple things like even making my bed. Those are things you do every day to
Right.
get in a rhythm. You know, so I'm not sleeping in it all day.
Mundane stuff.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and exactly, because you don't, you know, my father used to always say, if you don't sleep in their bed, you don't know what's going on. So like a couple, if a couple looks like that everything's perfect, but it's not, well, you got to look on the inside. So you don't know what people are going through. I remember Monday, I was not in the best of mood. I came in, I was yelling and screaming because my area wasn't cleaned up the way it was. I yelled at the guy and later on I apologized, because I'm like, what are you doing? But you don't know what people have been going through. So, I mean, they were looking at me, they just thought I was a rambling idiot. But at the same time, I was struggling a little bit, but still not the reason. But you got to sometimes.
Because I guarantee you, everybody's going through something.
Oh,
I don't.
yeah.
It might be a little thing, but to them it could be a major thing.
Right,
You know
exactly.
So-
Exactly. So, Saturday, September 28, 2024, where is it at?
It's going to be downtown, by the what's it called? I can't even think of it.
Union
Yeah,
Station?
yeah, by the Union Station.
Okay.
The times, it's kind of weird. There's a check-in process. There's a learning curve. They're going to choose somebody who has ALS to speak. I'm praying it's not me. Honestly, that's the truth. I'd rather kind of just this first event with these people, I'd rather just let somebody else take the reins. I just want to donate money and raise awareness and have some people walk and have a good time.
Well, here we go. Just look it up. I mean, people use Google and all that. Look, Walk to Defeat ALS, the ALS Association. Look it up. Check it out. You can go through Shane Allen's Facebook. You can go through Brian Lee Crest Sr., the Awesome Voices Facebook. You can even look through KUAW. Is KUAW good? We will put something on KUAW. Check it out. Just, you know, and then he says, you know, you can, if you don't want to be in the middle, you don't want to see nobody or anything, donate $5. $5. I mean, what? It's a pack of cigarettes. It's a pack of Coke. It's a box of donuts. You know, you can give that money away. So just do whatever you can to help contribute, because I hate saying it, but you have a death sentence, and I know that you don't want to hear that, and it just makes me sad, because you know, you and I have been good friends, and so but
But
You-
can I just say this real quick?
Yeah, you can say that.
Because you say that, let me just say this real quick because I know we're running out of time. I may have a death sentence, but at least I know when, and I think that's more of a blessing of not knowing when.
Right.
I can complete things when I start getting sicker. I can really start completing my life, and I know when. Now we all can get hit by a bus tomorrow. I mean,
Right.
we know that
Exactly.
But I have somewhat of an idea of when it's going to happen, and I think that's more of a blessing than anything.
Right, absolutely. I mean, my father passed away, and I had a lot of people, condolence me and everything. I'm sorry. But I used the example with Darian Thomas. Darian Thomas lost his dad when he was 9 years old. I was 58 years old when I lost my father. I was blessed to have my father for 58 years. He lived to be 84. I mean, you talk about a story. His story was was really bad. But the fact was, he lived his life the way he did, and unfortunately, he died living the way he wanted to. But still, you got to just embrace and enjoy. And yeah, there are going to be days where you don't want to do anything, but you still got to get up. You still got to do it.
And honestly, you have one body. You're only going to have one. You need to take care of it now. I know you might have put your body through some crap for 40 years, but it doesn't matter. You can start taking care of it now by doing certain things.
Right, absolutely. I just went to the doctor today, and I lost 7 pounds from 6 months ago. My heartbeat was 66. I am pretty healthy. I am diabetic, type 2 diabetes, which is to me not a big deal at all because I can control that. If I start eating a whole bunch of donuts and sugar and everything, then I'm controlling it by doing it the bad way. But still, I try to stay active. Like my doctor said, he's staying active. We're going to go golfing tomorrow. And you know what? We're going to have a blast. We're going to probably shoot 90, 100, 200, whatever. But we're going to have fun doing it. And that's what life is all about. And we are at the end of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Shane, thank you so much.
Anytime.
And I will be inviting you again. So DJ Scatter, George Walker, behind the scenes, running the show, running a phenomenal show. We have the best sports show around. And Darwin Penny, Coach 24, when he comes back, which probably will be sometime next month, he will be popping in. And I've had Willie. He's going to come on the show too. So I asked him, but I told him that I would only invite him when Darwin came here because he's good friends with Darwin too. And I am Brian Kress, the Awesome Voice. Be awesome, not angry, and you guys have yourself a phenomenal sports weekend. Go Royals.